Okay, before the break, we talk about tonicity. So hypertonic solution make the red blood cell shrink. Isotonic solution make the red blood cell stay the same. And hypotonic solution make the cell swell or crenate. Okay, now let's look at the other characteristic of water. Water is a polar molecule. We talk about water because it's covalent bond and it's polar covalent bond because electrons are not shared equally. So the head parts become partially negative, the tail part become partially positive. And because of that, water is a perfect solvent for salt. Because salt like to dissociate. Salt has ionic bond. And when they dissociate, they become the cation and anion. So cation has positive charge, anion has negative charge. And the cations, the water can always use the partially negative side to surround the cation, can always use the partially positive side to surround the anion. So water dissolve salt pretty well. So water dissolve polar molecule because water is polar. What if the molecule is nonpolar, like oil? So we know the water does not dissolve oil. Water and oil don't get along well. They will separate in two layers. The reason is oil is a nonpolar molecule. So that's oil. We'll talk about this in the biomolecule. This is fat. And water also have a high heat capacity. Because of that, you need a lot of heat to increase the temperature. So it helps us to maintain the body temperature homeostasis, a stable body temperature. Your body is 60% water. And water, they have hydrogen bond. So that's the hydrogen bond. It's a weak bond between water and water molecule. So they attract each other. Because of that, it has heat, high heat capacity. And when you sweat, the sweat is mainly water. And you go to the surface of your skin, it turns into vapor. You have to break the bond so you can take the heat away. That's why you sweating can help you to lower the body temperature. And water is essential for your hydrolysis reaction. Hydrolysis is breakdown. Every time you see lysis means breakdown. Like this is the sucrose, this is the table sugar. When you eat table sugar or when you drink coffee, you add sugar. This is table sugar. And your digestive system will cut this into two simple sugar. Will cut it into a fructose and glucose, these two molecules. And when you cut this, they're supposed to hold hand together. When you cut this open, okay, they miss one part. So you will cut the water. You cut the water because the water become a OH and H. So give one guy OH, give the other guy H. So you have a lot of this chemical process happen in the body called hydrolysis. Hydrolysis. Sometimes you will hear me called hydrolysis. I emphasize lysis means breakdown. So this is digestive function. And water is a perfect lubricant in your body. When you take AP1, we will talk about a joint. So in this joint called the synovial joint, you have liquid called synovial fluid. It's mainly water. So you can separate the joint and also lubricate the joint. So if you take care of the joint, it should last for 80, 90 years. Water can also provide a cushion function. When we go to AP1, the central nervous system, your brain, your spinal cord, outside is covered by the liquid called cerebrospinal fluid. With this liquid, it provides a cushion. So when you shake your head won't directly hit the skull and cause the concussion. Sometimes still happens in some athletes. That's when the shaking is too much. But with this water, it provides a cushion. And water tend to ionize. Even though you have water only, it actually will break down, become H plus and OH. So when we talk about our next lecture, acid and basic, we'll talk about, okay, they're supposed to be equal. But when they are not equal, that's when you have acid or the base. And water is cohesive. We talk about the hydrogen bond. It's a weak bond. it's cohesive. So some small insects, animals can take advantage of it. They have good surface tension. So surface tension is when you put two glasses into water, or you add one drop of water between two glasses, you find it's very difficult to separate those two glasses because of the surface tension. Also, when you put a straw into water, you find the water will move up, will move out. So in human, the application is the pleural cavity. So your lungs, again, when we go to the AP, you take AP1, AP2, outside of the lungs, you have a double membrane structure. This membrane called pleural membrane, Pleural, pleural membrane. It's a double membrane. So they have created a small cavity called the pleural cavity. You can think like you squeeze your fist into a balloon, Your fist is your lung, and this balloon will cover your fist. So you have the balloon have the inside part and the outside part. So the inside part touch the lung, and the outside part touch the ribs. And because they have the liquid, water, mainly water. So those liquid will help them to glue together. So now the outside part of the pleural membrane glue to the ribs, the inside part glue to the lung. So when you inhale, you pull the ribs out. You pull the ribs out, and then they will pull the pleural membrane, and then they pull the lung, so the lung extend when you inhale. So that's the application in your body. And in plants, in the trees, why the water can go from the root all the way to the leaves? Because also inside they have the straw-like structure. So the water can go because they have a big surface tension. Okay, so these are the characteristic of water.